Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. Before we get started, if you're listening to this on our audio platform, please give us a 5-star rating and also please subscribe to the podcast. I am so excited to welcome my next guest. He is known as the Modern Mentalist. He has performed for Macy's, the New York Yankees, Hugo Boss, and Viacom CBS. He's also entertained several celebrities such as Calvin Harris, Derek Jeter, Kelly Ripa, LL Cool J, and Lucy Liu. And he has as of this recording, over 10,000 Instagram followers. Please help me welcome Kevin Nicholas.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome, Kevin. You're so welcome. Thank you so much for taking time out of the schedule to talk to me today. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Not a problem. This it's definitely, it's very cool that magicians and mentalists are getting more notoriety in the entertainment space these days. So thank you again for having me.
Absolutely. I've had an occasion. You are the latest mentalist because I brought over clairvoyance and Oz Perlman onto the podcast. So you're the latest and you're joining a fine group of mentalists. And also I cannot forget my friend Savia Joseph, who was a finalist on this season of Canada's Got Talent. So you are in a really great club of mentalists.
It's good to be in there with Oz, who's a friend of mine. So yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that for the win.
Absolutely. It's been a long time since I talked with Oz, so I got to get him on this podcast.
Oh yeah.
All right. But we're not here to talk about Oz or the clairvoyance or Savia. We're here to talk about you, my friend. So let's get started. So when did you get interested in magic and how did you pursue mentalism?
As I actually got into it when I was like 13. I was much older than most people that get into our field that might have done it when they were 8, 9 years old. They got a magic set from their family. I saw an infomercial on television and I somehow convinced my mom, I think, to purchase it. And at 13, 14, you get it in and you can watch it and you can pick it up, I guess you could say, a little quicker. So this video set at that time, VHSs, I learned all these tricks in like 2 weeks and I would just annoy my mom and everybody at school. And that's kind of what started the little bit of the trend of me loving to do this and perform at the same time of me also being an athlete and playing sports. It was kind of a different sense of being creative where I kind of liked those two different worlds.
Absolutely. Those are incredible worlds to live in, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, as I continued performing even throughout high school, it was then that after college, I paid my way through school pretty much doing this. And that's kind of what led to say, okay, can I make this a career? And then I guess you could say mentalism kind of was this new, it was always around, but the word started coming out of people's mouths saying, are you a mentalist or are you a magician? And I think those two things I started noticing it, even in different art forms. It would be like saying, are you a DJ or are you a producer? You started seeing this different, like, I guess what people wanted for the mentalist was more of what I did versus me being a magician, where maybe they thought something else. And I think the television show also created a lot of hype around what the word is, and that even made the word mentalist a mainstream name.
Absolutely. I was just about ready to bring that up because America's Got Talent, the Got Talent franchise has definitely played a role in doing that, because we know people know about Colin Cloud, people know about the clairvoyance, people know who Max Major is, people know who Savio Joseph is because of that.
Absolutely. And especially in New York, you hear it a lot. It is like you are, it really is its own field of that entertainment. It would be as if a different category of saying, hey, are you a country singer or are you a hip hop artist? You are in this weird, different, I guess, genre in this art form. And it's good. It's a very good thing for us.
Absolutely. So mentalism has so many different categories, and you describe yourself as the modern mentalist. So what can you describe modern mentalist to my audience and how it differs from the classic mentalism that we probably know?
I think we all develop our own sense of style performing. And as a mentalist, I think we go a little deeper into people's personal lives. We ask questions that might be a little more personal. And I think that when you need to develop a relationship with somebody, to ask somebody something, to create something so special for them, because it's much more personable, in my opinion, as a mentalist than what I do. But I've always loved the visualization of magic as well. And I find that magic is a much more very much more exciting in the art form. If you said to me, I'm going to watch an hour of mentalism versus an hour of magic, I kind of might not say I'm going to go towards the magician, but I just know there's more. It's more of an action movie than a drama. And I've always wanted to blend the two and never be, hey, do you just read minds and break into people's phones or et cetera, et cetera? Can you also do things that, especially in New York, we have such a strong, quick attention span. So I always want there to be a bit of magic and visualization and something that could slightly even break character a little bit and have fun with your audience. And I've hybrided both of what I've loved to do with the strong mentalism and the magic, and I connect them. So I don't have to be put in one category also. And that's why I think when you say modern, it's always just new. When someone hears the word modern, it's something that's new and original. And so I think I also was just lucky enough to get the title quick enough as well.
Absolutely. So I want to talk to you about some of the challenges, because mentalism, as you know, as we talked about earlier, is definitely somewhere new in the industry, and it's rising to international attention and acclaim. So what are some of the challenges that you face breaking into the entertainment industry and in the magic world as a mentalist, and how do you overcome those obstacles?
I think you can't half-ass the entertainment industry. You can't be, forgive me, I don't know how, if I could, it's not bad. It's just, the saying, you can't be half pregnant. You really need to be able to be fully in. You can't half-ass trying to be a dancer. You can't half-ass trying to be an actor. Whatever it is, you need to either push yourself through the good times and bad times. And you realize that, a very, very famous late night host said to me, goes, it's like 90% is just pretty much showing up, but you have to be willing to show up. And that's also, even when you have the reputation of being successful and having the clientele that a lot of the people that we dream about, it's still always work. There's still a show that you have to create for somebody and get them to go, oh, even with notoriety, even when you get on the television shows, you're always slightly working for that next show, like an actor would. You're waiting for that next role. You're going after that next role. And I think the challenge is that you realize that this is not, it's not a overnight success in our industry. It's still live entertainment. And it's not even, I have to say, I think the hardest thing for me recently is that the most notable entertainers in our field are not even are really entertainers. They're guys that are exposing magic on Instagram, and they're the ones getting 100,000, 200,000 views that will never do maybe a live show and stuff. And that's a challenge, because I'll go and do an event and go, oh, I saw something like that on TikTok. And it's like, it's a rough moment that something that you've put so much effort into can be done from some kid that cares about the views. And we do care. Look, even for me, with having 10,000 Instagram followers, but I do know that, social media is important. People do care about it. So you have to do it. But it's kind of sucks sometimes when you do something or you go into something and you go, wow, that view got over 100,000 views just because he exposed some effects that he bought online for $50.
In all honesty, I'm going to say the social media is an incredible tool, but however, I rather see a 9-minute performance on on a Got Talent. I rather see a full length show than just go for people who've done this for years than someone that's wrapping views on like TikTok and Instagram and like doing like 2 to 5 million views.
Yeah. At the end of the day, though, I think we're all still trying to make a living. And, for those views, there's money being given to them for something that people, for what we do and putting money behind, and they're letting people a little bit behind the curtain a little bit. You know what I mean? And when, there was such a big uproar back in the day when we had, magicians revealed, whatever it was. And everybody was like, do you hate those guys? And I really don't. But I do think it has created a different image of what these young magicians are seeing. It's not about performance anymore. It's really about just learn a trick and then expose it or perform it on Instagram.
In all honesty, that's setting up for that's setting up for the wows compared to, but however, in order to get to like, I don't know, the Magic Castle, or to get on a Got Talent show, or even to fool Penn and Teller, you need years to do it. And not just like random once a month, like one, you learn in 24 hours and you have a virtual thing, because you might freeze in that situation.
Yeah, I think that our industry, I have been a live entertainer for 20 years. I knew people that succeeded very well virtually. I did not. I was not one of those people. I changed my business model, and all I did was work majority in Texas and Florida. I would fly out, and I would just, in the heart of the pandemic, because that's who I was a live entertainer. I can hide a damn elephant under a table if you want me to on a virtual platform. And that's okay. Look, people made money and I respect them, and they are friends. A lot of people are friends of mine that do it and they love it. They can do 5 shows a day. But for me, it's about the entertainment. That's what I care about. It's the people. It's the connection. It's the love of that. Magic really more or less is, and I'm going to say something that probably some people will go, oh, okay. Magic is my vehicle. It allows me to be the entertainer, and I think it's something I became very good at naturally. I was very naturally good at it. And I was able to take it and make a platform for myself, and it became my career. But if you said to me, I can have the same enjoyment washing cars as I do entertaining, I would watch cars. I love what I do. I love entertaining. Magic typically is the vehicle that allows me to do this.
I totally get it. And it's just incredible how you're doing that. But like, I want to talk about your clientele, because you have 2 different, you perform around the world. However, there's definitely a different pace, because New York and the Hamptons is one pace versus Los Angeles. So how do you, how can you describe how these audiences are similar and different, and how do you approach them?
Yeah. New York is fast paced. People love it. They want to see something quick. They want to be entertained, and then they will move on to the next thing. I think California, I think they're neglected of magic, my personal opinion. I think everybody goes to the castle, and if you can't get into the castle, you don't see magic, and people only hear about it. I've only been to the castle twice, maybe 3 times.
Wow.
I've taken some friends through another friend of mine that invited me, and twice other that I asked a favor when I was first going to LA in my early 20s, and I'm 34 now. And I thought it was cool. But I was the guy that said, I'm going to do what a New Yorker does. I'm going to go out and network. So every night, instead of me hanging out or going to have some drinks at the castle, I went to the hottest restaurants or the hottest clubs, and I just started networking with a deck of cards, the same way that David Blaine did 30 years ago in the Hamptons, the same way that people do, at a restaurant. But I was just going there, and I was just having a good time. And when you walk around with a deck of cards, people ask you, why is there a deck of cards in your hands? And you'd be surprised that when you have fun with them, they all want, there's not a restaurant really that I don't go to that there's some celebrity kind of sitting down. And when the manager realizes everybody's having a good time, he wants to send you over to a whole bunch of people. And it can open up a lot of opportunities just by you just, saying hi or saying, hey, you want to see a card trick.
And speaking of those celebrities, I actually I look at some of the people that you entertained and you wowed them. So I would love to learn about these experiences. Probably one of the biggest names in this group is probably Oscar winner Leonardo DiCaprio.
I have met Leonardo DiCaprio a few times. The story of Leo, and I wouldn't, if you said to him, hey, you met Kevin Nicholas, I would say maybe he would remember, maybe he wouldn't. I used to perform at a venue in Manhattan that he frequented almost every night. And so every week while he was filming in New York, I would see him at a table, and they would allow me to entertain the group and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, perform for celebrities is cool, but if you treat them like normal people, it makes it even better. I'll be honest. A lot of them love magic so much because they just appreciate good entertainment, because they know what being an entertainer is. The coolest experience I could say that I've ever created for myself was Ozzy Osbourne, though.
I was about ready to bring him up, because Ozzy, one word from Ozzy, and I can change everything.
I'm sitting at a sushi bar, a very hot spot in LA, and all of a sudden I'm at the sushi bar, and out behind me is Sharon Osbourne, Ozzy, and Jack, and they sit right behind me. And I'm in a meeting with somebody to my right, and we're just eating, and he's looking at me, and he goes, Ozzy Osbourne just walked in. I go, yeah. He goes, can you perform for him? I said, yeah, let's do it. Now, I'm not going behind and going to just be like, hey, I'm going to get up. So I started by just saying, I'm going to do some magic for you, who is a friend of mine. And I started entertaining him. Then all of a sudden, I'm facing them, but I'm not like directly on. It's kind of like you could just see that something's happening between me and my friend. And then all of a sudden the waitress is like, are you a magician? I was like, yeah. You want to see something? That's when I completely turned 180, and now I'm literally facing them. And so I think I do something crazy. I'm pulling cards out of my mouth, and I'm ending up like, it's like, I'm like making a card literally appear in like, I think her like checkbook and stuff like that. And she's freaking out. And as I'm pulling the cards out, you see Sharon like freak out that the card came out of my mouth. And I was just like, what's up? You guys want to see something? And they were like, sure, why not? Come over. Like, and it was only within like 4 feet, but it's one of those things where you're in an art form that you can create moments for people that they would never experience. And it doesn't matter if it was a celebrity like Ozzy or if it was somebody else. You have this such magnetic ability to making somebody's day better, maybe sometimes, more emotional, depending on what you're doing. And I love that.
And it doesn't take much. It takes a lot to impress Sharon, especially she was on 6 seasons of Got Talent as a judge.
Yeah. I can honestly say that a few people that have seen me that have been on America's Got Talent, whether judges and stuff, have always given me good thumbs ups. I tried out once under a producer that got me into the producers like thing, like where they'll be the ones to say, you're not waiting on the line, like come in, like they found you and were like, let's do that. But I believe it was the year right after Matt Franco won.
Okay, so that is 10th anniversary 2015. The panel was Howard, Heidi, Mel B, and Howie Mandel.
Yeah, it would have been right around there. And I was doing an event in LA, and it was one of the network producers who saw me and was like, "You're great. We'd love to have, you definitely, we'll just set it up for you," when they're doing the New York thing. And I remember he won, and there was just too much resemblance of me and him. And, I think the producers kind of knew where they wanted to go that year. And I knew it was just too much where when Matt won, people thought I was him in New York for like a week. Yeah, we had similar I didn't have the bleach blonde hair and everything. And there was just something about it. And they were like, "Are you the magician that was on America's Got Talent?" That it was weird. It was only for like 2 weeks, but it was kind of funny because I was doing events and they were kind of big enough that they might've said maybe, and I was like, and I don't watch America's Got Talent. I really don't. I don't actually watch many magicians. I have 4 or 5 good friends that are magicians, but like, so if you say, "Hey, did you ever see this?" I would be like, "No, but I get the idea of it." I think I create so much better for myself when I'm not in that world. And that's what allows me, what my other passions are, to create the effects I love and things that I like to do. And and I'm not getting stimulated somewhere else. If I go, "Oh my God," because I used to be that kid. I would see stuff on when I was growing up and I'm like, I need to buy that from X magic shop or Y magic shop. And I'm like, oh, because he does that and he does that. And then I want to be them. And I'm like, I'd rather just start becoming who I am. I might add one piece of material into my show a year, maybe. And I kind of like that. I like just having my own road path and not worrying about what others are doing. And it allows me to push myself more because I'm only fighting myself. I'm not worried about what success somebody else had or why they got something. Because I think a lot of us in our industry is like, well, why not me? Why didn't I get there? I'm better than him, or X or Y, or, you can have those animosity towards people or jealousy things. And I had that in my 20s, you have that because you're all fighting for the same things and you're all creating the same stuff. And I just went, you know what, the more I don't know about it, the better. And I love that. And it's great when I see my friends out and about and we say hello and everything like that. And social media kind of is good because, people will be like, "Oh, I heard you just did this." I'm like, "Yeah, thank you so much." And I'll see like some of my friends on television. And nowadays I just get excited for them. I just get more excited for them. And that's cool.
I totally agree because I think we're in the same position where when it's not is with podcasts as well, because I'm very familiar with some of my mentors and seeing some people that I look up to land some incredible stuff. or do some incredible interviews. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish I should have had them or something like that. But it's taken me a while, like, or some of them have won Emmys or two for their reporting. But I'm on year 11 of this adventure that I started back in August 2011. And I love seeing people along the way, like talking to you, talking to other mentalists, even talking to some celebrities. Like I never thought I would be talking to Howie Mandel on One for 6 minutes ever.
Yeah. And those are blessings. And like I say, it's so cool. Like I like coming into things a little more organically, especially with even something like this, when I got the info to say, hey, would you love to do it? Yes, I love it. But I didn't want to go and watch 30 podcasts. I wanted to get just a basic idea and because the best experiences are the most organic ones, and that to me is so cool. You get an idea of like what you're going in, you get an idea of what you're getting into, but then, let it have a good time,
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely use a lot. I definitely love enjoying interacting with people one-on-one. And yes, do I have talking points? Absolutely I do. But I love having organic interaction.
I'm lucky. I always say if I ever do any interview or anything like that, I'm like, you just got to keep me on track because I am like my ADD will go everywhere. I'll be in a combo and I'll be like, I'll make a right and a left and a thing, and then somehow I'm like, just get me back on the road. Get me back.
All righty, that's the perfect cue because I gotta get us back on the road. So, in addition to Leo and Ozzy, you also partnered with several iconic brands, and these Kevin are very iconic brands, such as Alexander Wang, the New York Yankees, and Saint Laurent. So, what did these partnerships mean to you?
I am a fashion nut. Fashion is my fashion is my uniform. So I don't so working with a brand like Saint Laurent and Yves Saint Laurent and having the CEO become even a friend of mine and him be like, I want you to be a part of what our brand is, the image, the culture at our events, because you make that, is something that I don't think most people would have ever thought. Like magician versus fashion, where are the two? It's always been, but the same as like an artist or a musician. Why, they are the faces of these brands. Why is it you never see a magician or a mentalist as a face of a watch brand? All people do is stare at our hands. So doing something like that was always amazing for me. I'll be honest, I just got featured this week as the one of the most stylish men in the Hamptons, and that was a big thing. Yeah, and to me that's a cool idea because I'm not your just your basic run-of-the-mill suit, tie, and collared shirt magician. And so to be featured with some athletes and other friends of mine who are celebrities, it's like, yeah, I'm on the same page as you, buddy. That's a cool feeling.
Yeah, I bet. And because the thing is, I may never go to the Hamptons in my life, but to have say, okay, you are probably one of the most important. You're one of the most good-looking guys in this region. As part of the summer 2022, that's a memory you're going to have for the rest of a lifetime.
I'm gonna just copy that saying and send that to my girlfriend. I swear I didn't put up a sign, babe. Look, look at what Jake said. I swear that was all on him.
All right.
But yes, you're right though, that was something that made me feel something special. And I was, and there's a lot more articles coming in my life right now with a lot of stuff that's going on. And those those titles and what people are hearing and what they're doing in these interviews for me is, I'm just the one saying it, but they're the ones that are like, and by the way, me saying it means people asking questions that are just not your most typical things. And it wasn't just like, hey, what just got you? It's always good in a podcast, let them for a new viewer, but it's so cool in an article that they're going way deeper than just tell me your basic things, tell me this, that. And that's something really cool. That's something so cool.
One of the things that I'm a baseball fan, but like one of the there's the most iconic team is New York Yankees. And how did you get involved with them?
Oh, so the Death Star to everybody else. The Death Star. I did an event. I did a holiday party for their office team, like everybody in the office. And I ended up performing there, and it was a great event. No athletes were there or anything like that. But what happened was a year later, they were like, we want you to be a part of our family day. And family day is no media allowed. No, nothing. You're not allowed to film anything. This is players and family. And when they realized how professional I was and that I wasn't overwhelmed by, who the athletes were, then they were like, okay, we want, then we started creating a relationship. And one of the coolest things was that I connected with their, one of their coaches in a sense. And they were like, why don't we create a magic experience for the players in spring training?
Ooh.
And that was that was even much cooler because one, I get flown down to Tampa. We did a full 1.5-hour performance with which is, it's a lot of magic for an 1.5 hours, as you know. It's and with the players at that time was everybody from Derek was still on the team, Mariano was on the team. So I was seeing guys that like were slightly, athletic heroes of mine. And I was like, yeah, this is cool, and I'm the one kind of teaching them a different mindset of doing things and all this. And I was like, this is amazing. So when someone says, how do you do this? It was literally just a small steps of creating a foundation and continuing the relationship and willing to do it, and that one has paid off. That paid off.
That's incredible to hear because what people like, I'm going to be turning 34 in September. So welcome to our happy see our generation connect.
September what?
3rd.
I'm the first. Little Virgo.
Oh, no way!
Virgos
in the house.
That's it. That's it.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So I know we got to start writing down a conversation. Have you thought about, like, with Vegas in mind, have you figured out, like, do you want to go? And because this sounds like an incredible Vegas show. And I know that a lot of the best mentalism performers from our generation are performing and headlining in Vegas. Have you ever thought about a Vegas show?
No.
Really?
No. I have, I think, a little bit more of a love for travel and a little bit more of I don't want to use the word nomadic lifestyle, but I love something about one, it's a desert. Vegas to me is not my go-to. However, there is a project that is in the works, right now that I'm not at liberty to discuss yet. And I kind of find that cool because normally I will discuss everything and not worried about it. But I will say that it will be exactly, in my opinion, what Max Malini, if you're familiar with the name Max Malini, who is a magician at the turn of the century that dealt with much more luxury and royalty and the who's who of that 1900s performance, it fits a little bit more into what I want to do and allow me to do that where I'm not stuck in one spot. I love the idea of it. I love the idea. No, look, if somebody said, hey, I want you to put yourself on a billboard and we'll pay for your theater and we'll pay for it all and give you the thing and we like what you do, and I had the right team behind me, sure, why not take the journey on it? But for me, I think there is this bit of having an idea of my freedom that I love to have and the way I've always performed, and very similar to what I will say, we'll just go back to what Oz does in that corporate sector, but just a little differently. Like any corporate magician, we travel, we perform, we get to come home to our families and stuff like that, and that's something that I like. And I don't think I've ever relied on other people to make something from, and I think with a show like a Vegas show or something, there's a lot more other factors involved. And I'm one of those people that I think I like whatever it is. I like being a little bit of that loner in that regard.
I totally understand. You have to come back on this podcast. Once the project is ready, I would be totally intrigued to introduce you to the audience and talk more about it. So
yeah, thank you.
All righty. So last question. Are you ready?
Ready.
Where can my audience connect with you on social media, and where can they find you and connect with you and say, hey, I want to perform. I want to how you perform at my thing.
Both of my website and my Instagram at Modern Mentalist and modernmentalist.com. You can see me have so much fun on my Instagram. I do a lot of performance on there, stuff that's just fun. You could get to see what's going on that's happening in my career and on the journey of what I have been doing over the past couple of years. And also just reach out to me on DM. I love just chatting with people and saying thank you so much, or glad you love it, or if you're trying to expose me, I still give you a smile anyway, which I love even more, So
I totally agree. So guys, if you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our channels on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, and Deezer. It's Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOB ELYACHAR. Are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOB ELYACHAR. Once again, JACOB ELYACHAR. And Kevin, the blog, as I told you earlier, the blog that started all, jakes-shake.com, is celebrating its 11th year this year.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. If you want to catch what's going on with America's Got Talent, The Masked Singer, what my hottest take on the hottest new music, and want to listen up to all my interviews, including with Howie Mandel and some legends, head over to jakes-shake.com. Once again, jakes-shake.com. Kevin, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I really appreciate it. I truly enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you.
All righty, guys. Thank you so much for listening to our conversation. Until next time, have a great one, everybody. Goodbye.